my name's Chris, and today I'm going to show you how you can find out your restrictions passcode if you've forgotten it, and if you're running iOS 6. I believe this is the first example of being able to do this, and we're using a vulnerability in iOS that, as far as I know, hasn't been reported so far. Just to show you what version of iOS I'm using, it's 6.1.2, and I'm doing this in an iPhone 4S. I believe it'll work on other models, but this is all I've tested it against. Okay, so on this iPhone I've restricted location services, and I've forgotten the password. So if I go to Google Maps, I can't do anything. And if I go back to location services, and then it's off, and you notice that toggle. I can't turn it on because it's been restricted. And if I go to restrictions, so under general, restrictions, there's a passcode lock, and I don't know what it is. So I can bash away and try and make some attempts here. But after a while it starts locking me out. It'll make me wait 1 minute, and those number of minutes will gradually increment up to 1 hour. So at some point I can't try another passcode again for 1 hour. And since there's 10,000 possibilities, brute forcing this by hand is not really an option. What I found is a vulnerability in this passcode screen, which is that this try again in 1 minute, this 1 minute restriction, isn't enforced if you're communicating with your iPhone over a Bluetooth keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my iPhone in. I'm going to stick Bluetooth on, and it's potentially worth putting airplane mode on first as well, just so that this process doesn't get interrupted by anything. I'm not going to do it here. Okay, and let's go to restrictions. Okay, so my 1 minute's up. If I put in another passcode, I have 5 minutes now to wait. Okay, we can use a bit of software on a Mac called Type2Phone, which basically emulates a Bluetooth keyboard. So the phone thinks it's getting its input from a Bluetooth keyboard, but actually it's getting it from a Mac. So let's have a quick look at that application and how it works in this context. If I drag it on here and say Type2Phone is ready, click here to connect. I'm going to connect to my phone, and it's connected. Let me just drag that down so we can see everything at the same time. Yeah. Okay, so my phone is saying passcode try again in 5 minutes, but if I use my Mac keyboard, so I'm going to try the password 3434, and you see that time restriction was completely ignored by the iPhone. Let's try 1, 2, 3, 4 again, and now it says try again in 60 minutes, and I can keep trying. So I can really trivially brute force the passcode using this Bluetooth keyboard emulator on a Mac. And what I've actually done is created a small Apple script that will just run through every possible code. So 10,000 times it will try a PIN number and increment the PIN number. And maybe we'll just have a look at that in action. So if we imagine that I don't know the PIN code for this iPhone, for the restrictions passcode, I just hit run on my Apple script there, and if we look at, are we running? Yeah, okay. So it's going to try 4 zeros and a 1, 3 zeros and a 2, 3 zeros and a 3, and so forth. And you can see on the iPhone it's just going through all of those attempts, and you can see the number of failed passcode attempts increasing. And what you can do is basically film your iPhone doing this, maybe using an iPad, another iPhone, whatever, and you'll see at what point does it hit the right one, and when it does, you know what your passcode is. Let me stop that there. So now I'm in. In fact, my passcode was quite low. It was 0022, which is why the brute force went so quickly. Obviously, if you were 9999, it's going to take, I reckon, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. But I think it's certainly worth doing, because the alternative is restoring your phone, which is which is a massive inconvenience. You're going to lose some SMS history, other application data. And now I can enable deleting apps, and I can enable again my location services. Allow changes. Location services on. Oops. On. Okay. I'll post a link to the script, although as I say, it's really trivial, on the comments to this video. And the application Type2Phone that I'm using is available on the Mac App Store. It costs something, but it's not very much. And it might also be worth noting that this vulnerability is present in the passcode lock screen in iOS, but only once you're in iOS. So you can't brute force your passcode from the lock screen, which is almost certainly a very good thing. But if you're already in the iPhone and you need to brute force through that passcode, it's possible using the exact same method that we looked at. Okay, I hope that video was useful. I believe this is the first example of this exploit being used, the first discovery of it, if you like, as far as I'm aware. If you've forgotten your passcode, I hope you find it useful, and enjoy. Thanks.